That is the theme. What are the prospects we have for the students pursuing the arts? What are the arts? Properly speaking, scholarship is divided into two divisions only: the arts and the sciences. The arts encompasses everything that is not the sciences, and the sciences is everything that is not the arts. So, within the sciences, you'll have the agricultural sciences, the biological sciences, the physical sciences, the medical sciences, and the like. And within the arts, you will have the performing arts, the liberal arts, linguistics and the languages, and the like. You will see that in the contemporary dispensation, that category of people that we now call celebrities largely come from the arts. That is where they largely come from. The closest competitor to that category may be persons in sports. So, as the representative of the Dean of Business said, even though the world has now become enamored with STEM, let us recognize that actually it should be STEAM. STEM is supposed to stand for science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. STEAM introduces an A midstream, and that A is the arts. Because us in life, we appreciate the full dimensions of the role of the different disciplines, as well as the place of qualitative and quantitative dimensions to development and growth. We will appreciate that the arts has a special place and a pride of place for our development. So we distinguish between the arts and the sciences. And under the liberal arts, we will have the traditional disciplines. Actually, university business started from arts. Things like business studies and the professional studies got conscripted into university work and scholarship much, much, much later down the line, millennia, not even centuries down the line. University business started with things like study of classics, philosophy, religions, history, not with law, medicine, accountancy, veterinary science, and the like. The professional related disciplines came into vogue and got conscripted into university business just about a century and a half ago. But the world has had universities for millennia. That will tell us, as the dean of the faculty said in his opening remarks, if you appreciate what the full dimensions and breadth of the arts are, you will see how the different disciplines in it, philosophy, history, and the languages, have a place in our society. So it is a word of encouragement for every art student. And in the liberal arts now, we are looking therefore at things like philosophy, classics, archaeology, history, and the study of religions. Now religions at this university also has added to it, and human values. The second broad categorization of what will fall within the arts are linguistics, languages, and communication studies. The Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana now is a linguistics scholar. A previous Pro-Vice Chancellor at that university was a linguistics scholar. In these areas, we are looking at linguistics, Ghanaian languages, all the different Ghanaian languages that we have at this university, at sister universities and the like. African languages, and particularly we are looking at Swahili and Hausa, and indeed Arabic is an African language. We are looking at ancient and medieval languages, deciphering the hieroglyphics, Latin, ancient Greek. We are looking at European languages. I'm speaking English, French, Spanish, Portuguese, and the like. We are looking at Eastern and Oriental languages. The University of Cape Coast has a Confucius Institute, which amongst other things promotes cultural relations with China and its language. Other places have other Oriental languages, notably Japanese. And we are looking at communication studies, which here and at many other universities was born from the languages. Communication studies started as a discipline in this country from the University of Ghana. The very first scholar who became a professor in the area was Paul Ansa, PV Ansa or PAV Ansa. His background is French. Then he moved into communication studies. The University of Cape Coast, somewhere down the line, also introduced communication studies. The background of most of the scholars in that discipline is English. So communication studies falls within this line, and it is the languages which is the mother of that. Our present dean, a former dean, our present dean, Professor Safuro, as I'll call him, Professor Afo, former provost, Professor Dubuando, and the like, all answer to this description. So, Mr. Chairman, we are looking about the liberal arts. We are talking about linguistics, languages, and the communication studies. A third category in this taxonomy is the fine art, crafts, and the vocational skills. Some of these are not too strong at this university, but at the KNUST, for example, there's a whole faculty which deal with fine arts, which include its subcomponents of drawing, painting, sculpturing, cartooning. We've got photography and videography. And indeed, I should mention, in 2020, a number of institutions came together and formed a university called the University of Media, Arts and Communication, UNIMAC. The vice chancellor of that university is a product, not only of this university, is also a product of the Faculty of Arts. This is to suggest to us that indeed that category or genre of study relating to the crafts, fine art, and the performing arts, which is a final category. And under that, we'll be looking at music and dance, and I've commended them already. We are looking at theater studies, and I call my own brother there, as everybody calls him, Wafata. In each of these genres, you will see job opportunities and you will see money. In each of them, job opportunities and money. The purpose of every education is to prepare us, is to equip us to be functional and useful members of society, so that we can render service and or produce goods which will provide value, including economic value to society and to self. No one should kid that the arts, broadly speaking, is a fertile opportunity for employment, for self-employment, for generating money, and for making money. Secondary school students don't love money, but don't fear money. You are studying hard so that you can make yourselves useful to society, so that you can create jobs or find jobs that will earn you a good revenue. I said, don't fear money. Don't, but don't love it. Now, therefore, after you have pursued your course of study, I am assuming the secondary school students are arts students. And I'm assuming that the bulk of the students in this room are art students pursuing one discipline or the other. What should you do with yourself? Do not rule out complementary employment or self-employment. Even if you get a job, you can always get another job. Have that at the back of the mind. Success in life will come from multiple streams. Always. So if you are having a particular job, maybe you will assist a neighbor in teaching them or their children a course or two. Or you will decide to cultivate a backyard garden and sell some fruits and vegetables that emanate from it. Or you may have a hobby in IT or in communications. Let us leave university knowing that complementary sources of activity with complementary income is a good thing to do. I don't discourage anyone from finding a job, but you can't live on your job only. Definitely not if you are poor. And even the rich people have multiple sources of income. It is a wise thing to think about, and it is a wise thing to do. Entrepreneurship is therefore to be imbued in everybody. And one should not say that I am an art student and therefore I cannot do business. Because business is not necessarily a study of a discipline. It is the practice of a vocation. And let's have that at the back of the mind. Having established this as a first point, the second point I also want us to establish is that a first degree is not enough. It's a starting point. It used to be enough. In the past, middle school leaving certificate used to be enough. But now, a first degree is not enough. It is a stepping stone. So think about postgraduate studies and or professional studies. If you've got a first degree in any discipline, immediately after that, maybe work a year or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. If you get the opportunity of completing immediately, why not? If that opportunity is abroad, why not? The Honorable Member of Parliament for Cape Coast North has encouraged everyone, by the time you complete, get a driver's license to drive yourself around and get a passport to fly yourself out. So if the opportunity presents itself, why not? But a first degree is not now enough. And it should always be part of one's plan to rope in professional qualifications and/or a second degree, perhaps even a terminal degree. Always have that at the back of the mind. A first degree is not enough. So that's the second thing I want to say. First is the complementarity of the incomes, regardless of what you find yourself doing. And second is a deliberate decision, because when you finish and you start working, then if the family situation changes, you get a spouse, a husband or wife, then the children start coming. If you don't make it a deliberate decision, it becomes difficult to do. But having got these two preliminary points along the way, when you finish, I have got a good number of career opportunities that you may think about. If you did any discipline, it's a useful stepping stone and it's a useful starting point. It may be God's path to keep you on that discipline, but it may have been God's plan for you as an entry point, but not necessarily that is the career you will remain in. I have always favored teaching. Whatever you are doing here, at some point, think about teaching. And teaching doesn't necessarily have to be a full-time employment at a university. If you become a master of your craft, if you become skillful in your area, a seminar or two, a part-time course is always something to think about. Indeed, from the Faculty of Arts, most of the subjects that are offered there are teaching subjects. But if you remain in the teaching service in Ghana or abroad, and you don't complement that with a degree or postgraduate diploma in education, you have created a ceiling for yourself. Many people have pursued various courses at our universities in this country, and those who have remained in the country in the Ghana Education Service and those who have gone abroad have necessarily had to do a qualifying certificate in education or a postgraduate diploma in education to remain in that track. Teaching may not necessarily be the most glamorous or the most remunerative at this time in this country, but there are other jurisdictions where it is ahead of the pack. So think about it. I was an associate professor and I had been teaching for a decade and a half. I took the opportunity of being at the University of Cape Coast, and I did my own postgraduate diploma in education. I can assure you, I did my teaching practice external at St. Augustine's College, and the college registrar, who is very proud of his alma mater, is proud that I chose that place rather than at Isadel, where IMP went. And perhaps, maybe not even in Fanspim, where I went. But I will encourage it. Whatever sense people will have about the teaching, it will stand you well. For the longest while, the equivalent of the chief executive officers of the Institute of Chartered Accountants was always a UCC graduate who had done the Bachelor of Commerce. Because in those days, when you do any university degree, including Bachelor of Commerce, you get BCom with Dip Ed. So you either do education with a diploma in a content area, or you do your degree in a certain discipline and a diploma in education. For the longest while, it was only UCC who was heading ICA. You will see that a lot of the nursing training colleges and the like, at a certain level of seniority, senior nurses in mauve dresses or mauve belt, white dresses will come here. never rule out the stone which the builder rejected became the head of the corner. The strength of this university is in education. Whatever you are doing, keep that at the back of the mind. And if God creates that opportunity here or elsewhere, pursue it. You will find that it will do you well. 2, the armed forces and the police. What they want is well-trained people with intellect. It is not true they are buga-buga forces. At the officer cadre, in the past, they were content with A-level. Now the entry point is a degree in any discipline, or in a few instances with special, certain selected disciplines, a higher national diploma. And even the higher national diploma institutions have now invariably all converted to degree offering BTech. Keep at the back of the mind that you may be reading music, dance, linguistics, international studies. The armed forces will be interested in you. Armed forces comprises any of the following 3. You will go through basic routine training, and then you will branch out into either Army, Air Force, or Navy. Man, know thyself, is what it is said. If you know you can't go through the rigor of that training, press-ups and receiving slaps, teaching you how to administer some, jungle warfare in eating snakes and cockroaches and all geckos. If you know you can't go through it, then forget about it. God is fair. If he doesn't give you an opportunity in one, he will give you the opportunity in another. But I want us to be encouraged that whatever you are doing, the police is open to you. And the armed forces is open to you. And they are attracted by young, strong men and women who are disciplined and with intellect, and who can go through the discipline of that training. Related to the police and army are the other related disciplines. The security services, the intelligence services, and the revenue authority. So we're looking at immigration, GRA, the National Bureau of Investigations, formerly BNI, and the like. I am aware that right now, opportunities for entry appears difficult. Sometimes if you are not politically connected, or it is said, financially sound. I don't know, I have heard. You and I were not there. But think about it. And think about these places because of what they do and not because of what you will get. Don't think about going to the police because you have seen that they don't hunger after every day. Or immigration, if they post you to the border or to the airport, you will not hunger. Ethics appears to have gone wrong in the country. Ethics and service must carry the day. And if you have these things at the back of your mind, the armed forces, the police, and the other disciplines, immigration, GRA, etc., available. Journalism. Whether you pursue a communications course or not, you can always get into it and do a short course or a postgraduate studies. In the past, actually, GIJ, which is now a constituent institute of UNIMAC, was offering the diplomas. And if you wanted particularly a postgraduate degree, you'll go and do mass communication. His Excellency, the former president and a presidential candidate, did history and then did mass communication. Yabuedu Ayabuafo also did a different degree and did mass communication. I'm mentioning all of these things to suggest that if your interest is in journalism, broadcast journalism, print journalism, new media, and the like, you can get into it regardless of whatever discipline you pursue in the arts. Law. When the faculty was started, it's only fairly recently that there has been the introduction of the post-WASI entry. Everybody who was doing it here, and in typical North American fashion, when they do the equivalent of their LLB, which they call the JD, you get people doing law with a first degree in other disciplines. Over 85% of the people who do law come with an arts background. It helps in any aspect of the law when you've got a solid background which has given you a liberal exposure. So just have it that my own discipline and the number of people who have been practicing lawyers of repute with a Bachelor of Arts degree is too many to count. We've had Chief Justices along those lines. The current Chief Justice has a Bachelor of Arts, brackets law. A former Chief Justice, George Kingsley Akwa, had his first degree in philosophy. There are a number of people who have been eminent legal practitioners and judges. Another option includes international affairs, foreign service, and diplomacy. Thankfully, I've heard, as I was looking through the list and they were introducing the various heads of department, history has got diplomacy attached to it. I was asking because it appears it was a new development. So diplomacy is offered here. There is also the Center for International Studies, which is here. So if you are interested in any of these areas, you will readily find a place. Business, particularly the application of the languages to business and diplomacy. Those who are doing the languages, Arabic, Spanish, French, Russian. Over the last 10, 15 years, Chinese has become of considerable influence. Between simultaneous translations and outright employment as a diplomat, the options are limitless. The amount of money that is made in the diplomatic and business space from translations and interpretations and accompanying business persons across the world, you'll be amazed. Your strength in the language, perhaps when you are through with it, getting employed in a good business or doing simultaneous translation, perhaps doing an MBA, it will position you even stronger than someone who does BCom, MBA. Have that at the back of your mind. In academia, this is where I butter my bread. I've just mentioned some people who, through the arts, have risen through the ranks and have become vice chancellors, pro-vice chancellors, registrars. Even at this university itself, if you accept the president whose background is a scientist, is a pharmacist, and a biological scientist, Adoabing, professor. Nana Jane Opoko Ajaman, professor. Domwini Dabire Kupole, professor. All three vice chancellors in succession were from the Faculty of Arts. And this kind of thing replicates itself, perhaps, across board, except notably for KNUST, which has had a certain convention that however established you are over there, if you don't have a science background, because it's University of Science and Technology. Most of the people who have been vice chancellors at the University of Ghana and at the University of Cape Coast, compared to those in other disciplines, have come from this. And it also goes through Pro-VC and down the line. So academia, in any discipline, if you want to stay in it, in whatever discipline, you know, you do your master's, you do your PhD. Right now, if you don't have a PhD, there's a limitation as to what you will get. You may not be employed as a lecturer. They may take you if they need you as an assistant lecturer and you go have to redeem yourself. If later on you're already in the system, depending on the institution, you perhaps may not be able to go beyond senior lecturer. So PhD has become a requirement. It was not so in the beginning, but rigor has demanded it. The Honorable MP and we were colleagues at the School of Business some time ago. I'm even happy to observe that it was whilst I was dean that he was recruited. So we've gone back a long way. He's a politician, but he's an academic. He did something before he went to politics. And politics is not a lifelong job. He has guaranteed himself that when politics is fine, he will be in politics. And if politics is not fine, he's got a job waiting for him. That is the same admonition I'm giving to you. And it is a good point at which to suggest to you that politics is also an option. You may cut your teeth in politics and you start from your JCRs or your JCRCs. In the Fourth Republic, Tin and Tescon have projected themselves, and you are not forbidden from associating yourself with any of them. I think Cheddar also wants to be president, isn't that so? I don't know if his party has its own equivalent. Feel free to cut your teeth. But politics is for service. It's not for insults. And as you are serving, start from the lowest level in your community. The unfortunate thing, regrettably, in the Fourth Republic is that some of the people who leave university have not got too much experience in life, readily get into politics. They don't know their left from their right. They are not able to contribute much except contribute by way of slight and insult. Get into politics and get into politics early to build the nation and not to bring down your opponent. I encourage decent and clean politics, and don't run straight to the top where you are not fit to run your own household. You are not even fit to run a small department at a business or at a university, then just because you have mouth, they will give you the opportunity of running a corporation, running a district or a municipality, or running a ministry. How? How? Our politicians have, through a misunderstanding of the apprenticeship principle, perhaps contributed to the relative underdevelopment of Ghana as a fourth republic. I encourage clean politics to understudy what is right and proper by the more experienced, and to cut your teeth. And by the time you've done 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20, 25, 30 years in politics, and you see these in every jurisdiction, people start early. Occasionally, there are geniuses who will shoot up ahead of the time, but most of them bide their time, and through natural filtration and selection, you get outstanding people from it. So politics is there. And there's also the NGO that will include think tanks. Those for community development, those for subject disciplines. You'll be amazed at the opportunities for growth and development and income generation by NGO work. They are not meant for profit making, but they are also not meant for poverty making. So think about it. How can you help society? And indeed, some of the think tanks generate more donor funding than university departments and faculties. The work that universities should be doing, think tanks are doing and are making more money from that business. We have limited ourselves largely to the teaching. The research part has not generated enough. NGOs in the think tank business make a lot. It is a space for you. NGOs in community development make a lot, because there are a lot of good organizations out there, a lot of good people out there that are prepared to fund good service, good community engagement, and good research. I hope, Mr. Chair, I have suggested at least 15 areas for the arts student to recognize. Do not think that if you are doing any subject in the Faculty of Arts, the fortunes that God has created for you are limited to those areas. But if you choose to remain in your discipline, know that you were wonderfully and fearfully made. And the good Lord will not bring you here to starve. As you serve, you will eat. If you don't work, you shall not eat. As you serve, you will eat and you will feast. But it is up to you to make yourself available, to develop yourself for service to God and country. May the good Lord himself add his blessings to these remarks, and he bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. Good morning.
Please, let the applause keep coming. More. Yes. This is a lot to go home with. Thank you very much, Prof. You never disappoint. Okay, so may I remind you that you can actually have a copy, a soft copy of the brochure program by scanning the QR code at the back of the hard copy. So to continue the program, we will have a short cultural stroke musical interlude from the Department of Music and Dance. Let's go. Video. Video.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. My name is Shut up. What?
Video.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Read on.
Oh, let's give it up to them. Let's give it up to them. I actually didn't know that this song will be played, so I didn't wear my dancing shoe. Otherwise, I would have done freedom. Freedom. Okay, so thank you very much, Department of Music and Dance. Now we are at the point where we are going to present the awards to the recipients. So I welcome Mrs. Naomi Finn Atta or Atta Finn, and then Dr. Eva Kwanzaa.
Thank you very much. The moment that we've all waited for is here. And I believe that the awardees are getting ready to receive their award. As well as we looking on our also, we want to see which category of people are going to receive awards today. We are going to award excellence, that has already been indicated. And what we need from you is a hand of applause. Let's cheer them up, let's cheer them on. And it's for us students who are seated here to also brace ourselves up in order to collect something in the subsequent ones. Dr. Kwanzaa is going to mention the names as I pick the awards, but we are going to call upon our guest of honor in the person of Honorable Dr. Minta Nyako to assist us with a presentation of the awards.
So for level 100, we have Coleman Peggy Abner, BA Communication Studies, 3.95. Freeman Diona Jatasha, BA Music, 3.87. Boachi Dita. Eh, eh, Yes. Freeman Diona. Boachidita. Boachidita. BA Art History Chinese. 3.86. Podovia Kekeli Grace Worth. BA Communication Studies 3.8. Podovia. Kekeli Grace Worth. Tete Gabriel Apete. BA Communication Studies 3.8. Tete. Tete Gabriel. Tete Gabriel Apete, BA Communication Studies 3.8. Nyako Angela Chre. Tete Gabriel. Yes. Yes. Eh. Yes. And not Stephanie Akoto. 3.6. Communication Studies 3.6. Yes. Debbie, ononi. Sir David, BA Film Studies 3.8. Ameto Gloria Kofi, BA Art, History, Religion, Class, and Philosophy 3.8. Afrakuma Akosia Kusi, BA Art, Chinese, French, Class, and Philosophy 3.8. Agbo Josephine Mauto Ajo, BA Communication Studies 3.8. Duke Ansa Claudia, BA Communication Studies 3.8. Jobson Michelle, BA Communication Studies 3.8. Kweku Tando Masha, BA Communication Studies 3.8. Kweku Tando Masha. Dakun Frida, BA Communication Studies 3.7. Adom Sefako Esenam Akosia, BA Communication Studies 3.7. Esa Stella Bentel, BA French, BA Art French 3.7. Abdullah Mohammed, BA Art French English Religion 3.7. Anko Gladys, BA Art African Studies, Classes and Philosophy, Theater Studies 3.7. Ewudu K. Lagifti, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Brands Juliet Akushika, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Mensa Stephanie Afua, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Mbabila Patricia Anabuka, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Mensa Isaac Kwesi, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Youngson Gloria, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Fiagbo Francis, BA Art, French History, Ghanaian Language, 3.7. Gameli Bridget Delali, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Kujo Ebenezer Yayo, BA Communication Studies, 3.7. Soku Erica, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Buachidita, BA Art History Chinese, 3.86. Nyako Angela Chre, BA Art, BA Communication Studies, 3.8. Kweku Tando Marcia, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Kwenu Fortune Ej, BA Art English History French, 3.6. Boache Frederick Kweku, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Ekufu Lydia, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Brown Sarah, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Edusei Abigail Ejewa, BA Art Linguistics, 3.6. Ping Pong Abina Ampomia Apreku, BA Art English French Religion, 3.6. Egbeji Jessica Selasi, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Boy Abigail, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Asari Julian, BA Communication Studies, 3.6. Ejir Elizabeth Akun, BA Communication Studies, 3.6.
Please let's round it up with an applause for all our level 100 awardees, now in 200. Thank you very much, our guest of honor, for doing us the honors. We shall now call on the provost in the person of Professor Kwame Osei Kwaten to help us with level 200 awardees.